Let's get into what we think about this team so far this year. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our individual grades on our first week impressions for all the players that are in the rotation, along with all the coach as well, to just let you know exactly what we think about the first week. And we know short sample size, but we're just going to give you our first week impressions and give grades. Then maybe we'll do it again in a month or so, or maybe 20 games. We'll decide, when we're going to do the increments of these grades. But let's start with Kevin Durant. So far this year, he's averaging 27.3 points per game, 7 rebounds, 4.8 assists per game, along with 4.3 turnovers per game, 1.5 steals and 0.8 blocks on 51% shooting from the field, 28% from three, which is not, your normal KD type of stat line, and 79% from the free throw line, which is also below KD's standards on 7.3 free throw attempts per game. So looking at Kevin Durant throughout the first 4 games, what grade would you give Kevin Durant?
For me, I would give him an A minus. I saw a stat today. I don't remember exactly what it is, but just the plus minus discrepancy when KD's on the floor versus when he's not. Yeah. And then the Suns' offensive rating as well just drops significantly when KD's not on the floor. But the reason I can't go higher than an A minus is because of those turnovers, like you pointed out, and the fact that the Suns should have won the second in last night's game. So when you look at that, that's always going to be attributed back to the star player. Yeah. Which I don't know if you could say that it's KD's fault, but he definitely could have done more, which he's being asked to do a lot at age 35. So it's tough to say there, but I would give him an A minus, not higher, mostly because of those turnover numbers. And the Suns are 2-2 when he's been their best player. That's not 4-0. Yeah. That's what I would give him an A plus if the Suns were 4-0. For sure. But they're 2-2, and he's been the number one option every single night except for the first game. So when you have your star player, I would just give him an A minus, even though he's carried the Suns. But he has those little problems, which I would not knock him majorly down for. But yeah, just an A minus for me.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish you were my teacher in school. I had a better GPA, man. I feel like it was a little light on the grade there. I went with a B. The reason I went with a B is some of the things that you mentioned, the turnovers, right? He had 8 against the LA Lakers. He's averaging 4.3 a game this season, shooting only 28% from the three-point line, which you definitely expect him to be a better shooter from the three-point line. And free throw line, 73% or 79%, excuse me, from the free throw line for him is definitely low for him. So because of the shooting below expectations at the three-point line, free throw line, and the turnovers, I went with a B. But he definitely is doing some great things, like you mentioned, carrying the offense without Devin Booker and Bradley Beal there, being able to be the facilitator at certain points, and when the spacing is correct, which they've talked about they've been working on throughout the season, getting that spacing right, you can see when the spacing is correct, he makes better decisions because he has more space to make those decisions. So I think that it's not his fault, but because of the team effort around him and him succumbing to some of the team failures, I gave him a B.